It's really going.
So how do you open these things, right?
This
You
is
fucked
already
that up.
really fucking awkward.
All right, don't worry. Let me take care of this. So, I'm the cynic.
I'm the critic.
That's right. And,
I'm Mike, and this is.
No, we have personas now.
Yeah,
all right.
okay.
You gotta protect these things.
No, I can fucking say my name is Mike.
Well, I'm gonna be an enigma then. Even though everyone probably knows.
You don't want to fucking be known as Sam?
Oh,
Sam the Cynic?
yeah, no, appreciate that. Actually, that sounds great.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Okay, we'll stick to that.
I guess this is going to be episode 1 of our ongoing podcast where we discuss movie franchises, in a big way.
That's right.
In a fun way.
That's right.
In a way that's probably going to piss a lot of people off, because I feel like odds are if the audience likes it, then we don't. So
Hence, critic and cynic, because it's critical and cynical.
it's going to be a good time, though.
It's gonna be
a good time. So, for our first episode, we are planning on discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? The big one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there really isn't that much else to discuss in terms of franchises in contemporary Hollywood, right?
There's basically no better place to start.
Yeah, like, you know, everyone and their mom is making a video essay nowadays about how the MCU changed Hollywood forever. And, you know, maybe we thought it would be cathartic to sort of unleash our opinions, our terrible opinions onto the world. But, yeah, so anyway, part 1, or the first episode of The Critic and the Cynic is going to be about the MCU, because what else? Because we had to start big. And so I guess we're getting into it, right? We're talking about our movies first.
Yeah. So we're going to be focusing on the MCU Phase 1,
Mm-hmm.
all right? Which includes Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and Avengers to round it all off.
Overall rating, out of 10. Go.
Oh, right, yeah, that.
Overall rating. The whole phase.
The whole phase. Out of 10?
Out of 10.
God. Looking at the whole thing, I'd go with probably a 7. I
Dude,
know that's like the worst rating to give.
I was literally just about to say, like, looking at the grades that you gave in our notes, it looks like a 7 from you.
Yeah.
For me, it gets a 6.
Right.
And I'm really harsh, and I know we have notes on what our ratings are, but I still think that The Avengers is a 7 out of 10 film.
Which is not what your notes say, by the way. That says an 8.
It's not, but I reluctantly agreed to put it as an 8, because the first time I said it to you, you fucking shouted at me. Alright. So, starting from the beginning, I guess, we have our notes down here, but we're going to go through our ratings for each of the films. So, starting from number 1, Iron Man.
Right.
You gave it an 8?
Isn't it the 9 for me?
No, you gave it an 8. And I gave it a 9. Didn't you?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, you did give it a 9.
I think I would change it. I think I would change it back down to an 8 or a 7.
So you'd agree with me?
I would agree with you, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a good film, don't get me wrong. And it kind of like, it did jumpstart the whole thing. But it's got issues. Again, the third act, which is something we're going to be talking about a lot.
Yeah, I think of all of the movies in the MCU, Iron Man doesn't really suffer from it that much, considering that it's sort of the first one to start the big trend. I think if you want to look for the worst case of this, I actually think it's like Wonder Woman. It's not even in the MCU.
Right.
Because these movies, for the most part, have like, you know, good effects, good designs, good villains in general. Even though they kind of get really tropey with how they set up these big climactic final battles that they're very hero on villain, sort of very comic booky, but that's not really what I want in terms of like what I'm looking for in terms of like having like a movie with artistic integrity, I guess.
Yeah, and that's also for another time, of course, the
totally.
DCU.
The whole discussion, yeah, totally.
I think that, Marvel movies in general just kind of struggle when it comes to the third act because, what you're saying is true. It's got to be comic booky, you know, it's got to be big and flashy, and there's got to be a villain that they need to beat up, which sucks because half of the time the villains are their foils, right? So to Iron Man, for example, what's his name? We've got
Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, he's an arms dealer, right? He represents the arms dealing side of Stark Corporation. I don't know. I'm not all that good with the nerd terminology, but Iron Man is definitely the inventor, right? So at the end, we basically got an inventor going off against an arms dealer, and that just leads to the arms dealer being like, well, I'll get the bigger, beefier kind of robot and take you on in that. And to me, that feels cheap. It feels like a cop-out, you know? You feel like the fight would be smarter when both of them are definitely, like, very intellectual people. But, yeah, the fight is really just, it's suit going up against suit, which is fine. Like, you think about it, it is an Iron Man film, but, yeah, you think it'd be more creative. It'd be more inventive.
Yeah. I mean, I think that as far as the introduction to the whole the series as a whole goes, I think that having such is a really grounded film, and that's something that I give huge props to. Is like not a lot of Marvel movies have something very important to say, but at least in Iron Man, there's this big discussion about arms dealing and
the morality surrounding it.
Being a weapon inventor,
yeah.
and being careful with what your invention is used for and how it is distributed.
Yeah.
Because obviously, Tony is the one who actually invents all the weapons, but he has no idea that Stane is selling them to the terrorist cell that he ends up being captured by, and that's the interesting dynamic. That's what buffs in my mind my rating for all the Captain America movies, is because they really have something else to say rather than just being, you know, your average superhero movie. Same with Black Panther and a few of those. Like, you know, I think that for the most part, the movies in the MCU that suffer because they don't have anything to say.
Yeah, and like they've got an arc as a result.
Yeah. Totally.
You look at Tony Stark, yeah, he's got an arc in this film, and Captain America, that's a great example because he does the same thing. They grow as characters throughout their story.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, yeah, you take, for example, the next movie that'd be on the list, Hulk, and you sit there, what happened, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Like, what was the plan here? What was the character arc? So
yeah, it's really
I gave
interesting.
That a 4, and you gave it a 3.
Yeah, I stand by a 3. I could even give it a 2. It's not good at all.
I know it's not, but at the same time, like, is it really that bad?
I think, like...
Full disclosure, I haven't seen it in years. Like, I rewatched it, I do know that for a fact, but it's been a long time.
It is, like, you'll watch it, and the plot is really incoherent, the settings kind of don't make sense, it really, like, even in the context, because we're talking about franchise, right? In the context of the franchise, it really does nothing. You know, Thunderbolt Ross is the villain, or the sort of puppet master villain, and then Abomination, never seen or referenced again, never. Maybe like one shot in the Avengers.
Like a cameo shot, yeah.
Like, no, when Iron Man's like, has all of his screens up, looking at all of the, who's on the Avengers initiative, and one of this is like footage of the Hulk movie. Yeah. But like, it's not, I don't think it's not that consequential. It's like Iron Man 2, really. It's just kind of adds nothing. It introduces a character that we don't see until Phase 3, I think? Civil War's Phase 3, right?
Yeah, I think.
That's, that's a long time, and the casting is really great, and the characterization is really good, and he's one of the best performances in the movie, no doubt. But it is a mess, and the CGI is garbage.
That's true.
It is not held up at all. Yeah, no, I would probably change mine to a 2.
Well, I mean, I'd stand by my full, although if you showed it to me again, I'd start agreeing with you, just because I remember having a fun time. You know, not like a sincere...
Did you say you remember having a fun time in The Incredible Hulk?
It's not a good movie. You remember that scene, right, where he hulks out because they, he's in a glass bridge for some reason, and like they fill it with gas.
He's in a university, and he like pops out of the he like jumps out of the
and he just starts wrecking shit, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, it's dumb, don't get me wrong, and it is definitely like a 4 out of 10, if not lower, but you have scenes that redeem it, where you kind of just, you see a big green man wrecking shit, and isn't that what we all wanted?
Compare the action in that to like the Avengers, which is the next appearance of the Hulk. And the scene where he hulks out inside the helicarrier in the gas chamber. It's so much better.
Yeah,
so much better.
So good.
Yeah, no, I think franchise-wise, this movie's garbage. This movie's a 2 out of 10. I don't respect it enough. So likewise, actually, my opinion has gotten worse of Iron Man 2.
Really?
I think it's a 2 as well.
Oh my god!
We have it written down.
I thought I was
as
supposed to be the cynic.
we have it written down as a 3, but this movie is not fun. I don't think it's fun at all.
No.
I think that there's like 2 scenes in it that you could consider fun.
Yes.
But you compare it to its sequel, Iron Man 3, and like, oh my god, like the fun levels in the third movie in this trilogy.
Nope.
So much better.
No.
So much more
Oh
fun.
my god! I remember sitting there in Iron Man 2, right? And second time I watched it as well. You have fun with that movie. Iron Man 3 feels like an insult, honestly, compared to it.
Really?
Because
You say
Iron
that?
Man 3 wants to subvert everything so hard that it falls flat on its face when it comes to developing any sort of like tension for the characters. When it
That's
comes to
harsh.
setting up any kind of character arc.
Jesus.
Right? Iron Man 2 does a garbage job, don't get me wrong, but does it at least better than that. So Iron Man 2 was a 5 for me. It's like, it's smack bang in the middle, right? Where I can say, I had a fun time. I'm not going to remember this movie. It's not going to mean anything for me. Right? But hey, I sat there and I enjoyed like watching Iron Man and the introduction of War Machine.
Did you really enjoy the bird stuff? Like the villain at all? Even any of that? Like
No.
that was all.
Yeah.
It was so corny, man. And they never come back. This is the other thing, right? It's like we've talked about 3 movies in these phases, and none of these villains have returned. And it like I don't know. It feels so wasted. It's one of the biggest things that informs my ratings of these movies is because like as a franchise, they really had to like play up the shared universe part of it, and they didn't really until I would say the Thor, Captain America, Avengers
Right.
sort of lead up, because that's like a year and a half.
Yeah, the one thing
In
that
which
Thor
all
does
the-
right. Hey,
yeah, in
which is
all 3 of
Loki.
those movies.
Yeah.
Because Captain America sets up the cube, right?
Right.
So that's interesting, but like these first 3 movies, you know, establishing a tone is important, I guess, but it's just they're really inconsequential. And we'll get into it later, but like one of the sections that we want to continue going forward with this show is rewriting these movies, even when this first half hour we're going to discuss other franchises, more of different stuff, and then we'll get back into the phase when we start this section. But we talk about rewriting every movie in the MCU slowly, phase by phase, over the next 4 weeks of episodes, and that'll be interesting. And then we can do other ones. But when we talk about that later, that's one of the biggest things. Is like I hate how inconsequential some of these movies are, and Iron Man 2. That's definitely one of them.
Is just
Also,
yeah.
how sexist the depiction of Black Widow.
Oh,
Our
boy.
introduction to our like femme fatale. Terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely
the
garbage.
token female character in
No.
the first like incarnation of the Avengers as a group. That's
2 out of 10.
I
2 out of
mean,
10.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we can go on Tumblr and find essays upon essays about how awful, just straight up awful, the introduction of Black Widow is, and they'd be absolutely right. So I see your point there, but like forgetting about the Black Widow stuff, forgetting about the fucking bird, and like just the total
So
lack of a
garbage.
compelling
It's so
villain.
bad.
You can still have fun just watching CG robots beat each other up.
I suppose. All right, that's fair.
factor.
Maybe I'm back up to a 3.
Yeah,
But
I think that'd be
still,
fair enough.
I still think that if you sit here and you're like, okay, I'm gonna watch these movies in series, you could totally skip Iron Man 2.
No.
You wouldn't regret it because A, the action is not as good as its contemporaries. B, it's totally inconsequential in terms of the actual narrative of the franchise. And C, it's literally just like not as funny as pretty much a good 70 to 80% of the Marvel movies, which are all pretty funny. They're action comedy movies. It's just weak. It's
No.
the weakest link.
Yeah.
I think it's the weakest link in Phase 1.
No, actually, that leads us to my pick for the weakest link, which would be Thor, because holy crap, that movie is bad. I gave it a 4 out of 10, right? Simply because of Loki.
See, but I think you feel like it's bad. You know what? Actually, I could kind of see where you're coming from with like the fact that it's the weakest link. But I feel like this was the movie where they adopt the franchise mentality, right? Because the first I guess Iron Man, they had the Nick Fury thing, but then Iron Man 2 and Thor was the first year that we had like a two for one. Like we had 2 movies in 1 year, and then the next year the same, and the next year the same, and now we're up to 3 movies a year.
They really started cranking them out.
Yeah, they really started like planning and pushing this universe.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not necessarily a good thing. Yeah, and you can kind of say that they were still trying to find their footing at this point, and Thor is just a great example of that. Because look, my biggest problem with this movie is Asgard. I can't even put it plainer than that, because you look at every scene in Asgard and it's a fucking joke. You got fucking Anthony Hopkins there, and he's butchering every line. If you got Anthony Hopkins and you can't work a good performance out of him, then something is wrong with your script. You need to go back to the writing room and take another look at it.
One for you, one for them, I guess. Like he's just phoning it in, right?
I mean, yeah, it's obviously just a paycheck for the guy, but look, this permeates like throughout the entire film, because we got the exact same problem with the human characters.
I fucking hate Jane
just as stiff and wooden.
She's terrible.
Oh, like all of them are though, and
but
like every interaction that he has with the human characters and with like his own people, it all just feels so
But she's
fake,
she's
flawed.
like the same as Pepper Potts was in the first Iron Man and the second Iron Man, and like Pepper Potts, I love where she's at now. Like in Infinity War, I thought she was great.
What, she had like
one scene. In the first Avengers, she was good. She had one scene, but her scene was all like that classic, like really snappy dialogue with Tony, and it really worked. And then Iron Man 3, she got a lot more.
She was great in that.
Yeah, she was
redeeming
great.
Feature of Iron Man 3. I'll give you that.
So like, she sucked, and then Jane Foster sucked, and it's another trope of these movies that they just shove a love interest in, and it's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, Black Panther. Oh.
You reckon Black Panther's the worst offender?
No, it's a forced love interest, and I like Black Panther. Don't get me wrong; it's a good film. It's just generic, and the love interest is a reflection of this.
I don't know. I think,
but like we're getting ahead of ourselves. We can't just dip into other phases. Constantly.
Yeah, totally.
No, but you're absolutely right about Thor. The love interest there is arguably one of the worst, and that's probably the reason why she just gets dropped, like straight up out of the picture.
No. She gets dropped because Natalie Portman left.
I mean,
she quit. But they were like, let's not even bother recasting her like we did with War Machine and who else? The Hulk.
Right.
Fucking obvious. I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the right call. It was absolutely the right call. Because
can you imagine like an amazing recast if like an actor quit really early in the movies, like
what,
in
like,
the MCU? Who? Like, can you imagine if one of the actors, one of the central figures in the MCU quit early? Can you imagine a recast? Like, what would be a sick, like a hilarious recast?
I can't really. Honestly,
it'd be so funny because I always thought Josh Brolin would make a sick like Nick Fury, white Nick Fury, comic book Nick Fury, and he ended up being Thanos. So this is why it's stupid. But like, can you imagine if like early on Sam Jackson got fired because Marvel wanted that Oscar buzz, and true. Sam Jackson's totally banned from the Oscars.
Wait, is he actually?
Yeah,
you're kidding.
There's
me.
a bar. There's no Sam Jackson movie.
What did he do?
Oscars. I don't know. I think he just made too many movies. Like he was in too many in the 90s.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, Sam Jackson's like one of the most like prolific actors. He's one of
the highest paid actors in Hollywood. Yeah,
he is. But you can't get in the Oscars with a movie with him. I think at least I heard from someone that that's a real thing, but it might at least just be like a running joke.
Right.
That he can't. He definitely can't.
It seemed like there's some unspoken rule that these elitists have, right? That if the movie has Sam Jackson in it, then obviously it's not good enough for our Oscar nomination.
Yeah, I totally reckon.
Because you and I both know that whole system's rigged. Like everybody knows that.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's just really a bunch of rich people who get like bribed, basically.
Oh, well. They suck, and Thor sucks. 5 out of 10.
4 out of 10. It's worse than a 5. It's like 5 is inoffensive. Thor, you said they're like, wow, I wasted my money and my time.
I definitely hate. I definitely hate Thor. Maybe you're pulling me down to a 5 as well. Yeah, that's harsh, man.
You seem indecisive, but hey, I seem
indecisive,
movie,
but it's definitely in that realm. Yeah. It's nothing better than a 5 for me because there is as much bad as there is good. But even some of the stuff that I remember being good, having rewatched this, I want to say 4 months ago, even some of the stuff that is good might still actually be like bad. But then again, like I'm trying to look at this stuff really critically, and maybe that's the difference. Anyway,
I think that's also the issue. This Thor is just a mess, dude.
second last, Captain America.
Second last.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the
yeah,
phase.
In the phase. I thought you meant in your rankings. I'm like, no, dude, we agreed on this. It's the first movie we actually just agreed on, like straight up.
Yeah, it gets a
also
6.
because we watched it like a week ago.
It gets a flat 6.
It's a 6.
Gets a flat 6. It's a great, like, generic movie.
Exactly. And the third act sucked, but like you can't tell me that like the first and second act are just fun to watch.
I know. I kind of
Are just fun to get
I
into.
kind of hate the fact that there's no like they supplement the fact that Captain America and the Red Skull never really fight. Like they kind of fight, but they never really fight.
Yeah.
And then the one time, like they supplement all of that with basically Captain America punching Hitler in the face for like 5 minutes of montage. Also, there are 3 montages, and I hated them as they went along. I hate
so cheesy.
the one where
So badly filmed.
the one where he's fighting Hydra as Captain America. I thought was just like at that point I was like, this is the 3rd montage.
That was a good time.
In like an hour, and I'm not into it.
I that.
love the like go-go dancing one. That's
my
dope.
God.
I love it.
Yeah, that one's pretty great.
The training montage, pretty good. Like when he's like he's being all like, "Oh, I'm just like
I'm
a
scrawny,
skinny little Chris Evans."
Oh yeah, biggest problem with the film, scrawny Chris Evans, right? And the fact that he's got the voice of someone who's 6'1" and weighs
So
like
you'd
at
rather-
least 280 pounds worth
You'd
of
rather
muscle.
they ask Chris Evans to basically act like this all the time.
I mean, they could have done something, but he sounds so burly, man. And then he's a fucking twink, and I sit there like.
I don't know. I reckon I know people who have low voices like that. I don't think that's like a oh my god, my immersion is shattered moment. I think my immersion is shattered when I look at Chris Evans's fucking giant head, and it's been like artificially squished at the jawline so that it gets skinnier as it goes down to suit his like weird little twig body.
It doesn't work. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that.
But I love it. I love it. It's a good
You got to give him kudos for like going that far, like not just doing something else, but actually committing to that kind of just CG inevitable fuck up, right?
Yeah, well,
but
I mean, they get better with it as they go along. I reckon.
Just to get rid of it, dude. We don't.
No.
Put his...
They make people younger a lot.
No, true.
And I think that's more of a Disney thing nowadays.
Yeah,
Disney
true.
in general. They did it with Carrie Fisher, and they did it with.
What are they gonna do with that?
Grand Moff Tarkin brought him back to life.
Oh boy,
That was kind of butt ugly.
Look, I'm a big fan of Peter Cushing. I
And
think that he is like an exemplary gentleman, and like may he rest in peace. And the fact that they resurrected him in glorious CG, aka just absolute garbage.
Butt ugly, man.
That was Rogue One, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Rogue One.
Probably the
That
most
was most of
insulting part
Rogue
of the
One,
movie.
actually. That was a. He got a lot of screen time
He
for
did.
like a entirely CGI character. It's kind of like Paul Walker levels of screen time.
Yeah, they're really committed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they were showing off the wrong thing in that movie. That's
Totally.
that's for sure.
Anyway,
So Captain America, great time, just 6 out of 10. You know,
6 out of 10.
it's like shit, but it's good shit.
I feel like they're right down the middle of that like middle market movie that they really want most of these MCU movies to be.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want personally. I want them to be pushing 8s and 9s with every movie, because that's your ideal world, right?
Yeah.
But this 6 out of 10 for an inoffensive, like just an action comedy flick, I was super into it, actually.
Yeah.
And I love Captain America. I think, like I said before, I reckon he has probably some of the most things to say of
For sure.
all
As
the
a character.
characters.
Yeah. He's got good arcs throughout all his movies.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of arcs, now we're at the end of the first Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's a 9 out of 10.
No, it's 7. It's
And
a
it
7,
holds
dude.
up. That's the thing.
Yeah, it holds up. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Because it's kind of amazing. Like, I wrote about this, right? Shameless plug. You can probably find my re-review, I suppose, of the Avengers posted sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll put that up on Tumblr like in the next few days because we're putting up most of our notes and shit up on Tumblr.
And yeah, I made the argument that Avengers, like, if you can just, it's kind of funny because we're looking back on only 6 years, but so much has happened in that time with not just the MCU but franchises in general. Right, and the MCU can definitely be, like, they can be blamed / credited for that. And the Avengers was really the first movie to just bring all of that together.
I think the Avengers definitely killed a lot of other, like, shared cinematic universe prospects, because the Avengers was the idea of them being able to execute this and execute it really well. Because it is a really good movie, and I gave it a 7. But I give it like a critical 7, considering that my 10 out of 10 is like, it has to be a fucking masterpiece to actually reach a 10 out of 10
rating systems
for me. But like, I guess I have a system, and you're gonna have to put up with it. All right.
No, but that's we've talked about this. Yeah. Okay. So my system, as the cynic, I guess you can just say it's subjective versus your objectivity. Right, because
me trying to be objective.
I mean, I don't try to be objective. That's the thing with me. I acknowledge my subjectivity when it comes to my enjoyment of movies. So, like, my 10 out of 10 movies are movies that objectively are probably not that good, but because of the amount of sentiment and amount of enjoyment I get out of them, I can just sit there and say this is my favorite movie and hence the best movie. Stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, like I
because there's no better children's movie.
I totally see that. I don't know if I agree with that. There's no better.
I know you don't, right? And that's the whole subjectivity.
But that's fine. That's whatever.
So
we're talking about the Avengers, and I don't think it deserves a 9 out of 10, because honestly, there are a lot of flaws with this movie. Character motivation is a really big thing. I don't care enough about Coulson.
No one did.
From like the first 3 movies for his air quotes death to be a uniting factor for these characters that I've actually been with for a few movies now. And I definitely I buy Iron Man, I guess, maybe Captain America a little, Thor absolutely not.
Nope.
In fact, I was thinking about this today. The best character motivation going into the big like New York final climax scene is actually Hawkeye. Because he gets brainwashed at the start, and he's forced to do a bunch of evil stuff, and then Loki's like, he makes his way out of Loki's mind control, and then he's like, that dude is an asshole. He just made me do a bunch of evil stuff, and so I just want to get back at him. True. I buy that vengeance. I buy that justification more than I buy, you killed my friend. Like, I don't like that at all. And I think it sounds really bad, but I think that Justice League and DC had a better setup for their Justice League going into the Justice League movie, because like he was like, okay, we have this existential threat incoming, we need a force to deal with it that's greater than any individual sort of powered being or like, hero, I guess. And so he's like, we need to do it. And so he goes around at the start of Justice League. It's not a good movie, but he goes around and he starts and like he tries to recruit all of them, and some don't recruit at first, but then come in later because they realize that the existential threat is real. And I think that's a better sort of storyline than Avengers.
But it's also a shit movie because we don't care.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. All right,
like
at least that is fair. But Marvel did it right, and then they kind of bummed it on the character motivation.
I mean, they did, but that's just because we needed that shot where we got the 6 of them standing there. We all know it.
That was always going to happen, but like the idea of them all uniting at once is dumb. I agree with that. I guess I get that that's what you're saying. I agree that when they all unite at once, it kind of kills all the emotional tension of the first 2 acts. So they all sort of stagger, and then Hawkeye hops on at the end, and then the very last one is the Hulk, right? That's what happens in the actual movie.
Yeah.
But the idea that they need a push is kind of silly when you consider that these are all superheroes, and it's their literal jobs to save lives. and they don't need a push to do it. Their push can be like literally just like witnessing some tragedy in the streets of New York during a literal alien invasion. Anyway, that's just my little riff on Avengers. I don't think it's as amazing as a lot of people give it credit for.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, but I'll always make the argument that it is like it's just the best movie of
It's
Phase
funny.
1.
It's pretty
And,
funny.
Like, yeah, you said that it's got humor, it's got heart, it's got great action. Like, you
It's
love
got
these
good drama.
characters because it did the setup right.
It's got good
you know?
drama, even excluding the whole Phil
Forget about
Coulson
Coulson,
thing.
right? Coulson
Good-
is
good
the thing
drama.
that drags it down, basically. It might even be an 8 out of 10, but no, like rewatching The Avengers, and I've rewatched it a lot. Because I just enjoy it.
That's the first one where I pulled you down.
Yeah, no, it is, man.
Yeah, no, I give it a 7. It's definitely the best of the first phase.
It is.
Definitely the best, and it's definitely a great start to the lead up to Infinity. How many? There's 13 movie lead up to Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's 13 movies, man.
Damn.
They waste it. A few of those are real fucking steamers, man. Those are shit movies.
And we'll be getting into that probably the episode after this
we'll
one.
just like talk about it, I guess.
But for now, I reckon we move on to our rewrite.
You say?
Our,
I reckon first off, like we go back again. Now, has your rating changed? Your overall rating, phase 1?
no,
No.
it is a 7,
It's
7
a
out of
7?
10. Just like that harmless, oh yeah, no, it's good, but don't tell your mum about it. But at the same time, you can't say it's bad.
I give it a 6.
Or like, yeah, that's 6. But it's
5
getting
to 6.
lower quality.
Definitely a 6 because I love Captain America and I love the first Iron Man and I love Avengers, and that's half these movies. So I can't say that it's like worse, and I hate the Hulk and I hate Iron Man, but I'm okay with Thor, so I give it a 6. I definitely give it a 6. Then after having this whole big discussion where we were writing down our notes, we thought it would be a cool thought experiment to rewrite these movies in a way that creates a better franchise, because if you're going to create a new genre of franchise, we can't expect them to have executed it better straight away, but we can look back and we can see what they could have done better.
Yeah. So at no point do we want to be like pretentious and sit there like, oh, they should have done this, and why haven't they done this? Because obviously, like, this was an experiment.
Yeah.
Like when Iron Man, when it first had that cameo.
Yeah.
With Nick Fury, that was a risk already.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because that it could have bombed.
Oh my
and
God.
it didn't. It did not at all.
Yeah,
Right?
it
But
didn't.
It was constantly a work in progress. By the time Iron Man came out, I don't think they were writing the Avengers at all. They probably had an idea.
Oh no, I think they had a rough outline of the Avengers, knowing that Loki was going to be the villain.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was I think he is the first comic book villain. He's the reason that the Avengers unite in the like classic comic books,
Well, you know that.
or in the newer ones. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't read that many comics that are older than I am, so I'll have to go double check. But
Yeah.
I totally think that Loki is one of the earliest and sort of all-time great villains for the Avengers. So they definitely had that planned. So for rewrites, this is going to be strange because we're starting and finishing with movies that we really don't want to touch all that much. Because Iron Man and Avengers are the best. They're the best.
And Iron Man, we are not going to touch at all, probably, because for what it is, it's great, and for what it sets up, it does its job. So why change that?
Yeah, but I like the note that we have the Shit Act 3. This kind of comes under a criticism, but
Right.
to change that would be a lot more interesting. And I maintain this sort of naive idea that they keep a lot of villains alive. And I was thinking how it could play in later, because it would be pointless to keep him alive if he doesn't show up later. And maybe not Obadiah Stane specifically, because he's more of like an intellectual equal to Tony, sort of an intellectual foil, I guess, is closer to what it is. But maybe like other villains, like Iron Man 2, what's his name, Whiplash, Although we're not even keeping Iron Man 2.
No.
That's further down the road.
Yeah.
That's regardless.
Spoilers,
That's
but,
later.
Iron Man 2, it does not just... it doesn't need to be there. Hulk, however, we do need as a movie.
I want it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we even necessarily need it, but I really, really want it.
No, I think there's a good movie hiding in there. That's the thing. Like we've been talking about this a bit.
Yeah,
right? But Hulk
we had a long conversation about.
Because okay, look, Hulk is kind of he's in a funny spot, right? Because out of the OG Avengers, you've got 3 of them that basically went and got their own trilogies, right? They got the big bucks essentially. Yeah. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. They got their big arcs stretching over trilogies of their own. Right? Whereas Black Widow and what's-his-face Hawkeye were kind of just there and have never been more than side characters for any of these movies.
She's getting her own movie though.
She is, that's true, but as of right now, she's still really just a glorified side character, right?
I hope they do My Life as a Weapon. I know you haven't read it, but
I wouldn't know what that is. I think, honestly, she's great as a character now. Book. But, no, she's still...
Oh no, I've made the case to you that she's a great character after Age of Ultron. It's definitely a redeeming movie for that character specifically.
I mean, Age of Ultron has its own...
Because if you base it off of just Iron Man 2 and Avengers, if you look at Phase 1 through to sort of the middle end of Phase 2, it's not like she is incredibly otherized from the male characters. She's made to be this quippy, sexy fighter who does one martial arts scene per movie,
and then bounces off of the other characters. And then
really just bounces off the other characters and gives them a little bit of dialogue. You see a little bit of characterization in Winter Soldier, and then a whole lot in Age of Ultron. And so, for the Hulk, because we didn't really touch Iron Man that much. It's kind of funny because the very next movie is the one that we thought we have the most notes on, because we decided to treat it as a blank canvas. Because, it's totally inconsequential. Same with Iron Man 2, but Iron Man 2 is just useless. But I love the Hulk. Hulk is one of my OG favorite characters. I remember when I was little, I read Spider-Man books, I read Hulk books, and I read Fantastic Four books. And I hate that we haven't gotten a good Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, dude, fuck Fantastic Four.
Because Fantastic Four are trippy as fuck. The comics, they go into other dimensions, and they explore, underground civilizations. It's
we're going off tangent here. I'm committing. I know that I haven't read any of Fantastic Four, so I don't really have too much credibility here. But the only problem Fantastic Four has is Reed Rogers. Is that his name?
Yeah. No, Reed Richards.
Whatever. The Elastic
Steve
Man.
Rogers.
Fucking.
Reed
I don't
Richards.
even. Who cares?
I feel like there's an Elseworld book there somewhere.
Oh, he is just so useless. he's just there. He sticks out like a sore thumb on the entire team.
Oh, dude, those first 2 movies are garbage too, as well, and the second
and the
one.
new one. Holy man, they're all just awful, right? And they never figure out what to do with Reed, Double R.
I totally see that though. They do really never. He's kind of too
He's the smart guy for sure.
Yeah,
he's the one who does all the gadgets and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't
as a superhero, you said that he's going up against the Human Torch, right? Against it.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's what matters. I think that the point of Reed Richards.
Time. I don't know.
It's called The Thing. Oh. You got it.
Yeah.
I think that Reed Richards, what matters about him is the fact that he is this intellectual character. All of the best Fantastic Four stories don't really have anything to do with this supervillain idea of fighting Doctor Doom at the end. And it doesn't really help that that's exactly what most of the movies are about. Because the best Fantastic Four comic that I remember watching had them dealing directly with Thanos. And Thanos, in the comics universe, in the Ultimate Universe, where the Cosmic Cube is separate from the Space Stone from the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos basically manipulates Reed Richards into... thinking that the Cosmic Cube is his own idea, this concept that he thinks up and he's trying to create.
Inception.
It's sick, yeah. It's sick. No, it's great. And they have their own version of Ronan the Accuser. It's a whole big thing in Ultimate Fantastic Four. I remember reading a lot of it, and it's really, really, really cool.
Maybe the comics get him,
oh my god,
as a character.
Yeah, the movies suck.
But the movies, oh my god, it's just, they're already bad. And then you've got this guy who's there, he's just sitting there, and I'm like, what do you do with this guy?
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway,
he just feels useless.
Anyway, back
Worse
on
than
topic.
Hawkeye.
Fucking, Jesus Christ, that was a long, like, little splinter. Fuck.
Yeah.
No, so I used to read a lot of Hulk, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. I haven't read any Fantastic Four in years. I read Spider-Man a lot, and I read Hulk a lot. Like, he's kind of my old standby, because as a character, he's more of an anti-hero than a hero.
Right.
He's kind of just like, I fucking hate being the Hulk all the time, and it's like this big... He's more burdened than anyone else.
True.
And they really get it right later. Like, in the MCU, especially Age of Ultron and Thor Ragnarok, they really, really get it right. And I love seeing the sort of multiple personality disorder coming out
Right.
in Infinity War, because that, I think, that's one of the first Hulk books I ever read. It's called Tempest Fugit, and it's about an island, a dream island that the villain Nightmare creates for the Hulk, where he like has all these hallucinations, and he does these flashbacks to when he was a boy, before he was Hulk, before he was the Hulk, and like he's basically got multiple personality, and the Hulk is like his imaginary friend that he sees everywhere he goes, and sort of talks to without actually talking to a real thing.
That's
I
pretty cool.
loved it. I loved that book, and I loved it coming out in Infinity War. So total wasted fucking character in this movie.
Yes.
But they
Like, my question
really,
to you
really,
is, how do
really
we
ace it.
Exactly. How do we incorporate this into the original Incredible Hulk?
See, that's the thing, right? Is like I've had a lot of ideas. I've been writing a lot of notes, so we're gonna put those notes up later. But the biggest thing I think is to nail not the origin, but the arc of the character in a single movie that, like, it's not standalone from Avengers. It has to be leading into it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure, you have to make sure that Banner is in the same place at the end of the movie, or is going to the same place at the end of the movie that he will be at the start of the Avengers. So in Avengers, he's kind of got this weird sense of confidence around him. It's not weird, it's just kind of hard to explain. The idea that he has this really strong anger management, and it's strong enough that he can see through lies and do a few things with Black Widow and Tony Stark and Captain America, where they're kind of playing with pulling the Hulk out of him, but he's just like, I'm totally in control of myself.
Oh yeah.
And you can't do that to me.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get Hulk to that point. That's the arc of the character.
Right.
That's a really important thing. And another important thing that we talked about is introducing Black Widow here.
Yes.
Because we're eliminating Iron Man 2, which we pretty much just talked about fully. So we don't even need to... We can just totally skip over it.
So what you're describing here, I feel like Black Widow is already a great character to sort of execute that kind of idea throughout the story, right? Because Black Widow, her whole thing is emotional manipulation. Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is basically going to send her to get Hulk on board and really get Hulk.
Yeah.
Because Banner's great and all, but the reason why you want this guy on the team is because you get the big green dude who wrecks shit.
I mean,
right?
I think... See, that's the interesting thing is, like, my pitch is the opposite. My pitch is the Nick Fury angle from the start of the Avengers. Because he doesn't actually want the big green guy. All the way given in the Avengers is, I want you to help me track the Cosmic Cube. Because that's the MacGuffin, right? It's the fucking traditional MacGuffin of the movie. And I thought that would be really interesting. So basically, my core idea is that we eliminate the Abomination, because he doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, don't even worry.
And the movie is one big chase scene where the Hulk is the MacGuffin. The Hulk himself is the MacGuffin, who every other character is kind of hunting, except for Bruce Banner, who just feels burdened by the fact that he's actually
who, if anything,
carrying
wants to lose it.
It's kind of like Frodo with the ring.
Yeah.
So he feels burdened, but he also feels like, trusted with the Hulk. The idea that he has to, like, make sure that the Hulk is a cause for good, rather than...
It's his responsibility.
Yeah, it's his responsibility as well as that.
So, what I'm getting here, the vibe of this kind of movie is it's obviously the first scene from the Avengers. Well, not the first scene, but the scene where we get introduced.
Yeah, the scene in... I think it's in Calcutta, in India.
It's in India.
Yeah.
Where we get introduced to the Hulk, right, with Black Widow basically, like, playing her cards but the audience kind of realizing down the line that she's freaking out underneath her cool demeanor because she knows what she's dealing with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But the Hulk doesn't have that at all during the movie. He's never freaking out. Like, literally the way that they bring him out in the Avengers is by him touching the staff. Right? He touches the staff and then goes berserk. Is that right?
No, I don't think.
We watched this super recently. I can't believe I don't remember this.
No. Hold on. I think what happens is the ship gets attacked.
That's right.
And he starts freaking out.
That's right. It gets attacked by Loki and Hawkeye. And yeah, okay. Anyway.
And then Black Widow is there, right? And we get that great scene where he's chasing her through the helicarrier. And I feel like if we already put her into the Incredible Hulk, then this kind of scene is going to feel even more dramatic.
Exactly. And I think that the if we add the relationship there, the relationship already exists in Avengers and in Age of Ultron. But it needs to exist sooner. It needs to feel a lot more.
We need the friendship first.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
yeah.
And that's what I feel we'd get out of this Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
also, can we talk about the relationship for a moment? Do we really want that?
I do.
Because remember Infinity War, where the only acknowledgement to the whole thing even happening is Hulk just being like, "Hey, Nat."
Him going like, "Hey, Nat," yeah.
And then War Machine is like awkward, and that's literally it. That's what we get.
Look, I
cracked up. I thought that was fair enough. I hated their just forced love interest thing.
I think that my biggest problem with that forced love interest is how cheesy that dialogue from Age of Ultron is.
But then the way they like mock it in Ragnarok is so good.
Yeah, that
I love that.
Would you be willing to sacrifice that for a rewrite?
Oh man.
Would you be really willing to sacrifice that joke?
I want that joke.
You want that joke?
I want that joke. But is that joke worth an entire character arc? I mean, from two characters just being botched.
So we'll obviously talk about this next week. Or the week after? Yeah, the week after. No, next week, because Age of Ultron's Phase 2. Yeah, next week.
True.
We'll talk about this next week, but... Yeah, no. Alright, we'll talk about that later. For now, I think... that
the friendship is something that happens regardless.
I think that the relationship I like the relationship. It builds well, but it's unearned. So if we earn it with this movie, then it'll build really well.
It could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we change some dialogue.
Oh yeah, and we add a little more to Infinity War, please.
Yes. No, okay, I could see that working actually. But yeah, right now our focus would be how would these two become friends through what you're describing is a very frantic movie with very little time for the characters to just kind of slow down. Yeah,
so I took a little inspiration from Hulk Grey, which is a classic book by two classic creators. You've read Daredevil Yellow, which you didn't like too much, but Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale wrote Hulk Grey, and it's like this exploration of like the first time Banner hulks out, and the idea being that he was still grey back then. But there's this whole sequence where the Hulk kidnaps Betty Ross and takes her up into the mountains, and like she's basically like interrogating him, trying to figure out why he's messing with her. And the Hulk just wants to be left alone. He wants to protect Betty Ross. And so I thought it'd be cool if like Black Widow sort of tries to grift him. You know, she just starts a conversation with him, and you know, we're all like, ooh, she's like kind of clearly a double agent. And maybe like Nick Fury is like, call in Agent Romanov, and then we don't have her named explicitly until much later, but we realize that Agent Romanov is in fact this red-haired woman that's been interacting with the Hulk the entire time. So for most of the rewrite, she's just this mysterious woman who's kind of taking a vested interest in the Hulk and Banner, and you could have like a little exploration. I thought about dealing with Betty Ross. I don't think it's really that necessary. It could be good motivation for Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, to mess with super fucking like be a fucking nuisance around them, especially in Civil War. No, nuisance. He's just fucking messing with them. He's like, I don't like you.
Because that feels...
Get on my fucking payroll.
Yeah,
Fuck
man,
you.
Exactly. That sounds like it's just inconsequential versus the actual narrative that's happening at that point.
Yeah, I suppose. But I like the idea that he's completely turned off the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything because of
Ross.
Because of this movie.
Yeah.
Because he already hated the Hulk for doing some shit with Betty in the past, maybe killing her, maybe just messing with her. and then he's like trying to hunt the Hulk down, and Fury's all like, "Get out of my way. My agency is going to handle this now because the Hulk is something, or Banner is an asset that we need to combat this extraterrestrial threat." Maybe
so
he doesn't let that
we
up
got
to
two
us.
parties that are basically gunning for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Hulk being the MacGuffin.
That's
and
great.
then your final fight. I think that it would be awesome if you have a reverse. This is me being like, "Ooh, let's do something different." The idea of the reverse suit up, where the Hulk, like, he is the Hulk and he's causing loads of damage, but then he just he stops and he just calms down and he turns back into Banner for the final. That's just like a little note.
I think the climax of this movie should be the threat of the Hulk hulking out in what's the city?
Calcutta?
Yeah, right? Because the thing is, he starts there in the Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people clearly trust him because he's a local doctor around there, basically.
Yeah.
Hey? And he obviously cares a lot for it's not very clearly depicted, but he cares for these people. He cares for the city because that's also the kind of guy Banner is.
Yeah.
Right? So I like to think that the whole tension in the third act, it'd be super unconventional, and it probably wouldn't work because most audiences aren't looking for that.
Totally.
But the threat would be Hulk hulking out in the middle of the city, or close by the city, and basically being that thing, a danger that's approaching.
Yeah.
And at this point, now I'm definitely just winging it, but I feel like this would almost be more of a Black Widow movie than it is a Hulk movie, because Hulk is the MacGuffin. Black Widow would ultimately be the character who has to stop Hulk from getting to the city. Getting him down to Banner.
I like that. I like the idea that she initially starts that she's purely on the side of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Nick Fury, but then as she develops a relationship with the Hulk, she's more about seeking the Hulk and making sure that he doesn't do anything that Banner would resent him for.
Yeah.
In the same way that in Age of Ultron, Scarlet Witch does that little mind control thing, and then Hulk just beats up a fucking entire city in South Africa.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, and this was also because if Black Widow would obviously succeed at the end, right?
Yeah.
And Hulk would he'd come down, become Bruce Banner again, and that is a perfect point for their friendship to end, because he'd be eternally grateful, basically, that she stopped him from destroying something that he clearly cares about.
Yeah.
Right? And then she can be okay, no, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to get away before my S.H.I.E.L.D. boys are going to start coming after you again.
Totally.
Right? And then, by the time we get to the Avengers, they've got that connection there.
Yeah.
And she's kind of look,
100%.
you owe me, because last time I let you get away.
Yeah.
And last time I saved you, basically, from destroying the city.
Or
even that could kind of get him on board.
Even if it's not specific to Calcutta, even if it's set somewhere else, in further into Africa, or even in the Southwest Asia, the Iran, that kind of area. Even then, I don't think the scene in Avengers wouldn't benefit from a little bit of distance from that, because then the characters have this degree of separation that that they can play off of in their interactions in Avengers, right? So the idea is I haven't seen you for a while, you look kind of different and better and well, and there's a lot more sort of story that's hidden there for the characters to work with. You know?
Yeah. We get better dialogue. Basically.
Yeah. So
that's fair.
Next, we're skipping over Iron Man 2. Thank the Lord. Fuck that film. No, that movie's garbage, man.
It's inconsequential. That's the thing. Nothing in Iron Man 2 is relevant to anything down the line.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of reintroducing her in the Hulk movie and completely eliminating Black Widow. Black Widow's, frankly, oh my god, incredibly
outrageously sexist.
So Hollywood sexist that oh, she's a sex object, but she could do martial arts.
We all remember the hair flick, right? Where she takes down the guys because Hollywood karate.
It's
and
so
then she
cringy now.
lands on a two legs and one arm, right? And then she does the hair flick up, and I'm sitting there oh boy.
And she has the worst hair in that movie.
No, she does.
Oh, so actually, Winter Soldier, I think, is her worst haircut.
Okay, are we having this discussion?
Iconically, I reckon Yeah, dude, Winter Soldier, she has the worst hair. Are you serious?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I just want to stop you.
Straight
Take
red
a
hair?
Step back.
Dude, okay. All you have to do is look at the poster for the movie and you know that shit is like butt ugly. Because you compare it to the Avengers and you compare it to fucking the Avengers 2. And you compare it to Infinity War and she's fucking like she's beautiful in Infinity War. I reckon that blonde haircut's nice. She's going red again for Avengers 4.
Jesus.
Like the idea is that it'll be like a year on from the snap.
That's gonna be pretty full on.
Yeah, it'd be sick. Anyway, that's the
I
real
just
movies.
don't
We're
care
talking about
about her
our
hair.
fake fanboy pipe dream
Oh my God.
rewritten version of these movies. Fucking get rid of that like terrible version of Black Widow, and give her more character because she deserves it.
Yeah. No, with this Hulk movie, we basically have it's reminding me a lot of what's it called, Mad Max Fury Road, where Furiosa comes in and kind of just takes charge. Of the
Absolutely,
movie.
totally. It's about the relationship between the characters rather than being about the title character.
Yeah. So like the only issue we'd have is basically like this movie becoming too much.
Yeah.
Like the narrative structure of Fury Road, because you're describing a frantic chase movie.
Yeah,
which is
except
Fury Road in a nutshell.
except there are in Fury Road there are no two factions, but that's neither here nor there. Like this is all hypothetical. This is just what I think would better suit a larger franchise like the MCU is. And then the same we have much the same notes for Thor actually. We kind of just wanted to use Thor as more of an introduction for Hawkeye and eliminate what is like a really bad third act and like villain, and most of the stuff is just kind of weak from this movie. And like I gave it a 5 and I still say like this movie would benefit so much more from adopting a shared universe mentality.
Yeah.
And really elongating the universe.
Once again, what we need is characters kind of sharing their movie.
I don't think you could change the first act too much, but I do think that you could make Thor a little more consistent with his current MCU version.
Oh yeah.
Like you could make him just a little bit more wisecracky, a little bit more funny.
Yeah.
We could definitely do without the Warriors 3. They're not.
Oh my God.
They're not that well used.
Remember how they just get like killed, like straight up iced?
I kind of love
Ragnarok?
it. Yeah, I kind of
That
love
was
it.
brutal, man.
Yeah, no, the Warriors 3.
Double standards. How the chick, whatever her name is, just
Sif?
like, isn't there.
Yeah, actually, wow. Does she die in
No.
Thor 2?
Nah, does she?
I don't even.
I
We'll have to watch that before next
Can
week.
we not?
I'm gonna watch it before
Yeah,
next
you'll
week.
have to. I'm not sitting through that again.
All right. So Thor, we have much the same ideas. We set up this Hawkeye lone wolf character that he kind of is at the start of the Avengers, because I think that that's more important as well. Same thing. Same way with the Hulk. You really have to set these characters up for Avengers.
Yeah. And Hawkeye, most important thing with him is his interaction with Loki.
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
exactly.
Because the big thing we want to get out of Hawkeye in this film is not just that he has an understanding all of a sudden of dealing with literal gods,
Yeah.
right? But also that Loki kind of sits there, and by the time Avengers rolls around, realizes how much of an asset Hawkeye would be.
Oh, totally. And I feel like one of the things that we can definitely fix later is kind of Hawkeye's like 180 from being this just give me a target kind of, real stoic dude, which he is at the start of the Avengers. Like we can actually give this character an arc if we give him more screen time.
Yeah, we can kind of
Because
make
that's
the
what
whole
I want.
family thing not come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love that scene, kind of just being a breather and possibly the best just moments in
a lot of character.
in Age of Ultron, it's still it's dumb. This guy being like, oh hey, and I've got a family, and I'm sitting there like, no dude, because there's been no indication for your character.
It's unearned.
Have anything like that, exactly.
Yeah, it's unearned.
100%.
So yeah, that's something we can fix later. But for now, we definitely say that Thor could have done a better job at being a team player, and setting up Hawkeye for this big ol' shared universe.
I think that
I love that character.
Thor would probably even start hinting at Hawkeye's family, if not just straight up reveal it already.
Nah,
Right? As a
I
point,
like that
hold on,
twist.
as a point for Thor and Hawkeye to kind of
relate
to
interact.
each other.
I don't think so. I think that I like the twist. You can point to it, indicate to it earlier, and I like the idea of giving him a few things where he's like, yeah, I have people that I care about. Just a few
Full
lines
calling
like
him
that.
out on his like coldness.
Yeah,
Like,
a
don't
few
you care
lines.
about anyone or
Yeah.
family? And Hawkeye just being super vague about it. That's cool.
Yeah. I think you can nod to it, but I love the twist. I think it's unearned, but I think it's a good twist.
And if we can set it up to make
and
it feel
then
earned.
and then later in that film, when Quicksilver dies for Hawkeye, I was like, that's good. That's good drama.
It was dumb. It was super dumb. I'm sitting there like, why the hell?
You could call plenty of things dumb, and not enjoy anything.
No, look, I'm sure. Hey, Cynic, right? Critic and the Cynic, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, oh my God,
we can
that's
set that
terrible.
up in a way where it feel like Quicksilver would do this.
Also, get rid
For
of
a
Jane
reason.
Foster. That's a note that I
She's gone.
wholeheartedly agree with.
Yeah.
Can lop her off every fucking movie.
I mean, all the human characters basically.
We might even have to get rid of Thor 2.
Probably.
I could get rid of that movie.
Wait. Look, is this a sequel trend? Will we get rid of Winter Soldier? Just like thinking ahead.
No. What? That's a great movie.
It is, isn't it?
And Bucky is the MacGuffin for Civil War.
Yeah, Bucky's great.
So, yeah, totally. No, we're not going to get rid of fuck that.
All right.
Maybe
Just a
Ant-Man
thought.
2, though.
Oh yeah.
Even though
Holy
it's a
shit.
great film. Like,
No.
I know you haven't seen it, so you can't really say anything.
Can I hate it by principle?
You can hate it by principle, but I think that genuinely it was a better time than the first one.
Okay. I have seen the first one, and like
Because
once again,
the first one is tropey as fuck.
yeah, it's one of those just inoffensive,
Yeah.
inconsequential, useless films.
And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Next, Captain America.
Right.
Captain America.
Third act.
Third act. Red.
Oh, and
Skull.
really shitty montages. Let's get rid of that. That's really just. An
I
editing
fully
job,
agree,
right?
but only the third one because the first two are okay.
Remember the one where it
third
introduces Red Skull, and it's just got these amateur filters.
No, the Red Skull has like one of the best introductions, I reckon, because he's like painting. You remember the painting?
Oh, that
bit?
was great. Don't get me wrong.
Bit?
I like that.
loved that.
I love that as well. But when the doctor is describing Red Skull, and you get like him doing his science, and then you get like super stock clips of guys doing science or like microbes going around.
No, I suppose that's fair.
And I love how bad it was.
But I love the painting introduction.
The painting was great.
I love that so much. Arnim, what do you think? And it just goes like masterpiece.
Also,
I'm
we're
like,
getting
yeah.
as much as I love Hugo Weaving, we're getting German actors to play these German characters.
Who's the guy
holy
from
crap.
Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Do
the same.
you reckon him?
What's his name again?
I don't even know. He's great though. He's so good.
Would he do a good Red Skull though?
No, probably not.
He wouldn't.
Probably not.
But I can tell you there's plenty of great German actors who could fill that role.
He kind of makes a great Bond. They cast him as Bluefield in the Craig Bonds, but I think he would have made a better original Bond villain.
For sure.
Dude, I would have cast him as a Bond villain. I would have, but they kind of just they did it and they ruined it.
And exactly. They ruined a really good actor.
Anyway,
For that particular
Captain
role.
America is it's so middle of the road. I think it does a good job of introducing the Cube. Maybe just better dialogue all around. It's the 1940s, and I think maybe we could introduce some elements that play in early on, later on. I mean, I like that they introduce Howard Stark. But they could go a little bit more into his characterization instead of just going, oh, he's your young Tony Stark archetype. But what do you think?
I honestly think that like I said, the first and second act of Captain America are pretty good. They work. They do their job.
Oh,
It's
totally.
the montages. Get rid of those. They're so juvenile. Amateurish.
Captain America is one of the characters that I don't think we should really change at all, because I think that his arc, I've said this, but I think that his arc in general is great.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just that third act.
It's kind of abstract. Doing this rewriting thing is kind of difficult because we can say we want them to be better movies, and we can suggest elements that we can change in order to make it seem like the 19 movie franchise is a lot more consistent. But just saying that, how do you make Captain America into a better movie at doing what it already does? That's a really tough thing. You know, you want it to be a fun action comedy, superhero movie, but you also want it to be a part of this huge endeavor to create a 21 movie long
at this point.
No, Avengers 4 is coming out after Captain Marvel, and
after that we got a bunch of movies.
Yeah, after that, but like Avengers 4 we could say is like the end of the plot of the this first
generation
21 movie long leg.
I think we've got a generation basically. Yeah, because they're planning to kill off so many of the OG Avengers.
Yeah, first generation. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but like this first stage is so well contained. Actually, if you really think about it, it only really opens up afterwards, and that's where like a bulk of the rewriting is going to be for this, because the first stage you just want to introduce your central characters and your central themes.
Yeah,
and we have all of these ideas that are floating around. We have all these notes. We have our series long plan that we've actually like made notes on and done a whole bunch of stuff and ideas for.
And don't take away from the fact that with what we've got right now, we have a great introduction to Black Widow, and B, a great introduction to Hawkeye as well.
Totally.
Which are just characters that kind of appear, you know?
Absolutely. But I think that ultimately this kind of stuff is kind of inconsequential. We're talking about character interactions, but the broader conflict of this cinematic universe is between Thanos and the Avengers, right?
Right.
And it kind of like this first thing, we don't have an introduced Thanos until Avengers. So rewriting these movies feels weird because this is the first leg. This really is like even like pre-Act 1. This is the prologue of the MCU, which is kind of wild. Kind of insane. Anyway, that was a little like spiel. It's definitely going to get a lot more interesting once we get into the Guardians of the Galaxies and the first Ant-Man.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm actually honestly really excited.
That's honestly when my rating is going to start dipping, because that's where the nostalgia glasses kind of come off.
Yeah, okay.
And I sit there like, wow, I did not enjoy these movies. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, guys, I hated that.
They're both sixes.
They're
both sixes.
No, we're not even gonna get started on that yet. But
that's true. Yeah, that's a fun.
People don't like my ratings when it comes to when it comes to those two movies.
Yeah, they're a little harsh, but also this is where we get some of the best ones as well.
Yeah, no,
I think. But then again, that's only phase 4. Phase 4, yeah, I guess, where we get the real good ones. Like you could say like Thor Ragnarok and I would say Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man.
I mean, you basically you want to be Infinity War, and that's
Infinity
War. That's the level, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
That good shit. Yeah.
That is very, very, very Gucci.
What? Oh my god. Okay, on that low note, I reckon that's basically the gist of this.
We
this
hit
podcast.
we hit an hour a little bit ago. So this first episode is it's interesting. I think. It's tough because we've been really tackling Marvel for an hour, but the idea is that we focus on franchises as a whole and how they're built, how they function, how they have functioned is a big deal. I want to talk next week. I reckon we should go through our favorite ones because I really want to talk about a few. Back to the Future is a big one for me.
That's true.
And Star Wars, controversial as it is. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, that's an opinion, you know.
Yeah.
I'll have plenty to say on that. But, I feel next time we'll definitely focus more on franchises as a whole. But, talking about Phase 1 is definitely just so important.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everyone's been trying to do
ever since. Yeah, everyone wants to touch on Phase 1.
Oh, yeah.
This was like, The Mummy did it and sucked notoriously.
Oh, yeah.
Same with that Dracula movie that starred what's his name? The guy Bard from the Hobbit trilogy.
I'm willing to bet that the King Arthur thing was even it was an attempt to kind of.
You reckon?
Yeah. No.
What's wrong?
Think about it. They would have done the Knights at the Round Table. So next would have been Lancelot the movie.
No, they had Lancelot. Did they have Lancelot? They didn't. They had Merlin in that movie, so they couldn't do Merlin. Anyway,
No franchise. That's
franchise. What's the worst franchise bait? Real quick before we sign off. Worst franchise bait you can think of.
It's Mummy.
You reckon it's Mummy?
It's the Mummy. Yeah.
You reckon it's Mummy? That's tough, dude. That's really tough.
Like the Mummy.
It's a hard question.
It is.
It's a hard question.
And like instinctive first response is just the Mummy. It
worst
tried so hard.
franchise bait. I'm probably gonna give it to Batman v Superman.
But it actually achieved something.
No, it didn't.
No,
are you serious?
We got what's it called? Justice League.
Justice League. Yeah, no, but that's because it's like almost guaranteed to like make a little bit of money.
True.
So
it was
like
guaranteed to exist.
Like if you think about like the quality of it, it's the most baity movie ever.
Yeah.
Like I could not care less about the central plot of the characters and anything else that they're shoving down my throats.
Yeah, no.
Down my throat is like.
But like by
Justice
virtue,
League is coming out soon. Go see it, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, fine,
can we
whatever.
not? But by virtue of being a complete and utter failure, we got to give it to the Mummy.
All right, fine, we'll give it to the Mummy. I haven't fucking seen the Mummy though.
Oh, dude, you're in for a treat if you don't watch that. It is so bad. I guess we'll be talking about that a bit next week, but yeah.
All right.
Hopefully you'll be tuning in.
Yeah, go check us out on Tumblr where we post all of our notes. We'll put up like, I really want to go see Venom this week, so I will put up a review of that. That's gonna be pretty fucking harsh. I'm willing to bet.
No, it'll be a like a double review actually. I'll help you out.
Prediction on Venom. What do you think?
Look, I've already been I haven't been spoiled, but people have been telling me it's as shit as you're expecting it to be.
2 out of 10?
Nah, come on.
I know I'm
like
really
a
harsh.
safe 4,
a safe 4,
possibly
no.
a 3. We're gonna see, you know.
I actually I could see it being a 4. We're gonna go check that out.
Yeah.
And also plenty more to come because there's loads of movies coming out. It's fucking movie season.
For sure.
There's loads of cool shit coming out soon.
Yeah.
And I want to fucking see a lot of it and talk about some of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's gonna be shit as well. All right.
So yeah.
Next week
for that.